The Chicago Bears have an opportunity to have a draft day movie style situation where they can not only trade back, again, adding more picks, still being able to add an impact player, but also be able to get back some of the picks that they have given away. Question on the table: should the Chicago Bears be looking to trade back one more time with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let's talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page, man. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So the Chicago Bears have an opportunity to move back in the NFL draft and essentially get more draft capital, add more pieces to your team that has a ton of holes on it, be able to build the team up in a more efficient way heading into this season, or at least give you more bites at the apple at the top of your draft, right? And where the Bears are currently sitting right now at 9th, there's some intrigue from the Pittsburgh Steelers to possibly move up. Probably trying to take a tackle, I would assume, some sort of offensive line on the outside. At that 9th spot, I'm thinking Broderick Jones and or Paris Johnson, one or the other. We've broken down both of those guys on the channel. Check the description below and click the Chicago Bears link to take you to all our latest Chicago Bears content. But I look at kind of the situation as it's laying out. The Bears would then move back to 17, of course, getting some other capital in there. We'll get into what that capital could be, which makes this even more interesting. But the caveat to all of this is that the Chicago Bears have started by saying, we're not letting Jalen Carter get past us. It seems that by many people around the league, the Chicago Bears feel that Jalen Carter is the blue chip player that they believe he was at the top of the draft, right? Like everything else goes on, the car accident, the vehicular manslaughter, all of that stuff that he's being charged with. I don't think that's what the actual charge was, but I think it was reckless driving, something like that. Whatever the charge was. He's been charged with all of that. That doesn't matter. He's still a really good football player. We believe that we have the situation here in Chicago to insulate him from all of the issues that are coming in play with all of that's going on. He's a good football player. We want him on our team. That's what Ryan Poles is saying if he were to fall to number 9. Now, where this scenario comes in favor for the Chicago Bears is that he may not fall to 9. There may still be teams ahead of them that also feel the same way as the Bears. Jalen Carter's that good of a player. I told you guys this at the beginning of it. People are like, he might fall out of the first round. He wasn't falling out of the top 10. He never was going to fall out of the top 10. Maybe people are a little more scared away from him with the news. But even with that, right, like we're still talking about Detroit possibly being in on him. We're still talking about Oakland possibly being in on him. We're still talking about the Cardinals possibly being in on him, right? Like, people feel that Jalen Carter is that level of good. And so there's a scenario where the Chicago Bears, hey, see red, let's go. There's a scenario where the Chicago Bears might not be able to make the selection of Jalen Carter. And for us, right, we're like, okay, you missed on Jalen Carter. That sucks. It's fine. Whatever. Let's move on to the next guy. Let's go get Broderick Jones, or let's go get Paris Johnson, or let's go, right? Like we've still got all these, Kalijah Cansey, if he's there, right? Like, there's still all these other names that we have in mind, but the Bears may have an opportunity here to add even more draft capital, still get a couple of impact players, and get back a draft pick that they traded away. Now, the team that wants to move up here is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Chicago Bears during the season traded their 2nd round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Chase Claypool. That 2nd round pick since then has become a 1st round pick because the Dolphins ended up losing their pick because of the whole tampering thing with Tom Brady and trying to get him in, and you're not supposed to have contract talks at this time, all of that, right? So the Steelers now hold the 17th overall pick and the 32nd overall pick in this draft. Still 2 spots where you can still get 2 really, really good players on your team, hopefully starters on your team right away, right? And so that's where all of this comes in. I do want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Bears should move back? If you can get 17 and 32 for the 9th overall pick, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Some people might feel like, hey, listen, that's a little much for the Steelers to give up for the 9th overall pick. Maybe. Depends on how bad they want to protect Kenny Pickett. What the Steelers situation is now is that they have George Pickens, they have Kenny Pickett, they have the buildings of their offense, of their future, but they don't have the offensive line that's going to be able to stand in front of him and protect him long term. They're trying to build that up now. Having more picks does help that, but do you have that blue chip offensive lineman? I think that two things would be seen if the Bears were to do this deal. One, I wouldn't mind either way, because I feel like if you sit at 9, you're more likely to get a blue chip player. I think that Broderick Jones, I think that Paris Johnson, I think Kalijah Cansey, I think Jalen Carter, I think those are your blue chip players that are possibly going to be in the range of you selecting at 9. Those guys won't be there at 17. You'll be selecting from a different group of guys, right? Those guys probably won't be on the board for you if you move down to 17. So it's all about what kind of draft estimation you believe you have. But the one thing that I will say is this. You would have made a trade for Chase Claypool that basically you traded him for nothing because you got your pick back. You would be adding the 17th pick. They would move up to 9. And basically you added an impact wide receiver. Now he's got to get on the field and make an impact, right? Like, I feel like he's an impact wide receiver. I've got a lot of confidence in what Claypool can do, especially being now the second option on this team. You've added an impact wide receiver without giving up the capital that you had last season, and you still have another draft pick on top of that at 17. I like the scenario there as well. I think I like both scenarios because you get blue chip guy or you add more guys and you still can go out and get really, really good impact players at 17 and 32. That's still top of the draft. That's still right. Like maybe you can take a lineman and a receiver in your first round, right? It changes the options for the Bears in this situation as a whole. I think the one thing for me that when I look at the draft scenario that the Bears are in now is, when are you going to make that pick? When are you going to go get that guy? When are you going to make that impact player? Is it worth it for you to move down? I understand we have a ton of holes to fill. I understand that we have a ton of things that need to be added to this team, and having guys at the top of the draft definitely helps that. Having more bites at the apple absolutely helps that. Love all of those scenarios. But at a certain point, we do have to make these picks. At a certain point, we do got to pick the right guy. It's a lot easier to pick the right guy higher up because you've got your full slate of options to go after, and you've got all the tape. You've got everything that you have studied on these guys. I feel like, to me, if Jalen Carter's there, it doesn't have to be we have to move back to 17 situation. But I also don't know if that's how the Chicago Bears feel. I feel like the Bears are more likely to move back because at that point, right, Jalen Carter was the guy they viewed as a blue chip. Now we can go get 2 other pieces that we feel are going to be starters, impact players on this team moving forward. I guess I could see both scenarios here, and the Bears have the draft capital to bounce back from making a move like this, right? Like there's so much compensation that the Bears can still get. There's so many intriguing options here. I love that we're still on the board for this. I'm not going to lie to you. I love the ingenuity of, if you were to make this pick, if you were to make this trade, right, you get your pick back. You basically gave up Chase Claypool for nothing. Like, I like that scenario in my mind as well. I mean, maybe he could finesse something else on top of it, right? Like, those are the 2 picks that I think if you're getting 2 first-round picks for the price of 1, that's what you're going to see. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is one where I'm not mad at either situation. I'd love to know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I look at both situations and I don't feel bad about it. I look at both situations and I feel like, no, like, this is you're getting impact either way. And I would be happy with compensation on both sides, right? Like, either I get a top player or I get the 17 and the 32. So to me, I'm okay with either situation here. I like that. And also, right, like, you don't got to see the Steelers 4 times a year. You're not helping a team that's going to impede you on the way to a playoff run or something like that, right? Like, I think there's a lot that's going into this. I really, really like the ingenuity that Ryan Poles has shown. I think the most important question now is, where do we think Jalen Carter's realistically going to get to? I don't believe he'll be there at 9. I believe that there's still really good players that'll be there at 9, and that's really what it comes down to, man. But hey, I would love to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you think the Chicago Bears should move back in the draft one more time? Or do you think that they should stand pat at 9 and hold on to and go get whatever player that we think is going to be a best value there? I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.